Welcome to the Choose Joy podcast. Come inside, take you on a ride and show you how to align. This is for my people who can hustle and grind. They put the bag on the line, overwhelmed inside. It's the Choose Joy podcast. Come inside. This is for my people who can hustle and grind. Love yourself, loving others. The storm is alive. Be patient with yourself. Success won't pass you by. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Choose Joy podcast, where we look at what it means to love yourself, love others, and even your obstacles and your enemies. And today, church, we've got just a special soul here. Okay, Dr. Tameka Duncan from Vitality Sport Rehab is in the building to share her gems with you, and I need y'all to buckle in because it's going to be a time. Thank you so much for coming on, Tameka.
Thank you, Dr. Sherrill, for having me. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm excited.
Give people a little background about you, what you got going on.
All right. Well, professionally, I'm Dr. Tameka Duncan, physical therapist, private practice owner of Vitality Sport Rehab, located in Clarksville, Tennessee. I've been practicing PT for over 13 years. So my background is that's what I do. I'm also involved in outside of professional life. I'm involved in ministry at my church. I'm sing on the praise team. I'm considered an intercessor, so one that kind of covers and prays for other people. I love all things sport. I love working out. I love trying to stay healthy. Listen, I just turned 40, so I'm learning. Baby, this body just moves and feels a little bit differently at this age, but we still figure it out. And yeah, so I love to have fun. I love music. I love to dance. Yeah, so that's it. I think that's it.
Yes, y'all, she's my big sister in my head. All the things, your dance reels, and you just be vibing and in the pocket, God. I said, Tameka, you better. I be over here screaming at my phone. Yes. Okay. Well, let's jump right in. Can you share a personal story from your entrepreneurial journey or even your life journey where you had an obstacle or challenge? How did you find joy amidst the difficulties? And what role did self-love play in that experience?
This is good. We about to get right into it. Okay. I think for me, when I talk, I'm gonna come from the perspective of obstacle.
Yeah.
The biggest obstacle that I've had to face in my personal life has been I'd say within the last year and a half. I went through a divorce. I was married for 12 years, and unfortunately we decided it was best that we parted ways. And so obstacle, I think that being a personal obstacle, that affected me personally. Of course, it affected me just mentally, emotionally, kind of, steered over into my professional realm. So biggest obstacle, that's definitely the biggest obstacle. Said, how did I learn? How did I use?
How did you choose joy?
Okay.
And what role did self-love play in that experience?
So for me personally, again, like I'm a believer, so a lot of this story is going to come from my faith and how that really played a big role in me being where I am today. So when my ex-husband and I decided that we were going to move forward with getting a divorce, my prayer was, Lord, despite how I feel, despite what happens throughout this process of separation, allow me to still be able to give you glory, but yet also allow me to still be able to, I don't want to be deemed as the angry Black woman. You know what I mean? And so for me, it was really important to hone in on my spiritual walk and my faith, to really kind of buckle in and just be in tune. But also it's just like, I don't want this to define me. I don't want to come out of this being the angry Black woman, or, oh, I hate all men, or I hate marriage, I hate love. No, that's not my story. And I didn't want that to be my story. Yes, okay, unfortunately, my situation didn't work as I anticipated, But baby, I am so excited to do life again and get married again and just find love again, because I know like I've grown so much from, that experience, and I still have so much more love and life to give. So how did I choose self-love? I think it just really, for me, it was like I said, just kind of going in it with that mindset. It's like, when I get on the other side of this, like I said, for me, I didn't want to be bitter. Didn't want to, be like, oh, I hate my ex-husband. We're cool. We're cool to this day. We don't talk every day, but we're cool. And I learned from that experience, from my marriage, I learned so much about myself. And I knew that, okay, I'm really gonna, I really use that opportunity as a way for me to really start to pour in and to really work on the aspects of Tameka that I knew that I needed to work on. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think so many times in life, it's so easy for us to point the finger. Oh, well, yeah, the marriage didn't work because of this, or this situation didn't work out because of this person. That's true. We all play a role. But for me, it was like, okay, what role did I play? What areas of my life do I need to work on and improve? So that I can be what I need to be, one for myself, but then also if God allows me the opportunity to join in with somebody else, so I can be the best version of myself in that case as well. So,
The
uh,
self-awareness. And that
yeah.
is a theme with like every single person I have talked to is this high level of self-awareness and inner reflection about how do I continue, even though this is a hurtful situation, it's hard. How am I still showing up and affecting others and taking care of myself and in all like positive ways? And I love that. And so many people are not like that.
Mhm.
And so I just and it's such a beautiful thing. Oh man. And something that came up for me was if he did it before, he'll do
Mhm.
it again.
Baby, and next time it's gonna be better.
Right. He never downgrades.
He doesn't.
There's never been a time where it's been worse. If he moved me,
Right.
it's always been better. So
Exactly. We may not understand it. We may not understand it at the moment. It may not look like we want it to look or expected it to look. It may not come in the time frame that we wanted it to. But you're absolutely right. If he pulled me away from it, if he closed this door, but I'm going to believe that there's a bigger door waiting on me to come through. So yeah.
oh, that'll preach. Listen, that'll do it. A lot of mission driven individuals, entrepreneurs, right? They grapple with this imposter syndrome. Can you describe a time, if you have, where you've dealt with imposter syndrome and then what strategies or practices helped you overcome those feelings and stay on your path to success?
Yeah, that's a great question. Definitely, I have confronted imposter syndrome. I think, if I'm honest, that's something that that's a struggle that I do struggle with, on a regular basis. And it's just like, no, hey, I know who I am. You have the ability and the capability of doing any and everything you put your mind to. I
Mm-hmm.
think for me, a big one was just the practice, having a private practice. I started my practice in 2018. And initially, when I started my practice, I came in it with the mentality of it being a side hustle. You
Mm-hmm.
know, working at a different clinical setting at the time, full time, fully employed there. And my mindset was like, hey, okay, I'm gonna just do this as a side hustle. And then I think it was like 2019, right before the onset of COVID. That's when I had the opportunity to rent space out of the facility that I'm at right now within the jujitsu gym. And so that opportunity came up, COVID hit. So, okay, I mustered up the courage to say, okay, all right, I'm gonna get out of this hustle mentality, this side hustle mentality. Okay, let me go into a space. So went into this space and then COVID hit. I knew in my heart, like, okay, I know I'm supposed to have this practice. I know I'm supposed to do it. But with the effects of COVID and then just kind of second guessing self,
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, I don't really know. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to close down. At the time, my ex-husband, he was just like, to me, Tameka, we're not making any money right now with the business. And I was like, yeah, but in my heart, I was like everything I wanted to close it down, but in my heart and my gut, it was like, no, this is your baby. And you know what I mean? It's like, okay, hey, things may not be going as I anticipated, but I know it's not meant or time for me to close up shop yet. I'm just getting started. So I'm really blessed. How we met, of course, I know we know how we met, but we had some business coaching together through Greg Todd, and that's how we met one another several years ago. And so really for me, it required me to hone back in on some of those conversations that I had during those business coaching experiences. I've used Greg Todd, I use Aaron LeBauer, and then really again, kind of going back to what we talk about, like self-awareness and really tapping back into myself and just saying, no, like, yes, this is an obstacle, but you have done hard things before. And you know what I mean? Like, you've done hard things and you can do hard things. And you do this every day. You're just doing it for somebody else. So, yes, you may not necessarily have the framework, but I have been blessed, oh my gosh, with so many women, brown and black women across the country, the world, actually, because we know a mutual therapist that's in the Bahamas, Kitty,
Yes.
who are doing this and who've been doing it. And so, yeah, for me, it was just really kind of honing back in on self and self-reflection and self-belief and really pulling in from that. And for me also, anytime you hear me talk, you're going to hear me advocate for mental health therapy. Like, I really had to go in because I think sometimes with imposter syndrome, it can be the root of some deeper internal issues that we may be struggling with.
For sure.
And so for me, that was a really big thing too. Once I was able to kind of go back and trace some things and address those things, it really allowed me to stand in, okay, have that confidence to combat that when I felt like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, or this is too much or overwhelming for me.
Yes. And that's, so important. I love that you brought that up because it reminds me of like self-sabotage, right? If you
Oh
don't
yeah.
if you don't take care of those things that might be underneath from the past, it could show up as self-sabotage in your business. And we may not like consider those things, at all. But I love that we're in a space now, especially in the Black and Brown community, but we're talking about mental health. It's becoming the norm because I almost feel like even in addition to the coaching and having those steps, the mental health part is almost a cheat code.
It is. It
Like
is. It
that's
is because
huge.
you could give me all this knowledge. You could give me all of this. You can hand it to me. But if I haven't addressed what's going on internally, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, if I haven't addressed how I feel about myself, if I haven't addressed my worth or value or what is my perspective on money, everything, like if I haven't addressed those things, you're absolutely right. It can present itself as opportunities of self-sabotage. You may be presented with opportunities and it's like, oh, I don't think I can do that because of this, and that. Oh, you just missed your whole blessing because you're struggling, you haven't addressed a deeper issue. So it all ties together for sure.
Ooh, and listen, and to dive deeper into that kind of with mental health, like what does balancing, entrepreneurship, with love and care for others, like what does that look like for you? How are you maintaining your meaningful relationships and supporting your loved ones while also pushing your mission forward?
Yeah, that's great. I'll be honest, one area for me that was a big struggle, and everybody's dynamic is different, but from the dynamic that I had when I was married was really trying to find the balance in, okay, I was working for an employer, but I've got my business here and I'm trying to do things to grow the business. But yet I'm a whole wife, and
Oh.
I still a whole wife, and still have to do and maintain your wifely duties, you know what I mean? So that was really hard for me, just finding that balance. I'm not even gonna lie.
Mhm.
And again, I feel like I said, our dynamic was a little bit different. Everybody's situation is different. Now, on the other side, for me, how I find balance, well, one, because it's just me, I do have a dog. You may hear him in the back whimpering. So now I can invest more time without feeling guilty of like,
Mhm.
man, I need to stay at the office later, or when I come home, I need to work on some things. So that has been a little bit of a blessing for me during this last year and a half.
Yeah.
But it still can be overwhelming in terms of just trying to find balance in terms of finding that time for family and friends. You know what I mean? So I do try to be really intentional. Like my friends know or my family know, like, hey, if we're gonna hang out, if we know we're gonna hang out, let me know weeks in advance so I can lock it in. I live by a calendar. Let me lock it in on the calendar.
Mhm.
If it's not on the calendar, it doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's just really being intentional about setting time aside, even if it's just, hey, okay, I can't hang out with you physically, but let me jump on the phone with you. Let me get on a FaceTime with you. And then just always remembering too, this is something that I have to sit with. There is always going to be something to do within my business. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I know I can get caught up in that rat race. It's like, dang it, I got to do this. I still have to do this. I still have to do that. There is always going to be something to do in the business. Family, friends, where time is limited. So we're not going to always be around. So I think when we prioritize those relationships and we understand how important those are, you find the time to invest the way you need to.
Absolutely. And something that I've loved, obviously on social media, you only see, what the person allows you to see. But something that I found really dope about you is, you post the girls' trips and we're getting together and I'm like, that's so dope. I was somebody that was like, well, I can't hang with the friends. I got goals because I'm trying to reach there and da da da, and I'm just now getting to a place where like that doesn't work. So it's very inspiring. It's like, oh, she's out with the girls, but she's still doing her thing. And even that time, it even fills your cup back
Yes,
up. I
yes,
used to think, oh, it's taken away from the goal. And then I was like, wait, I'm happier. I'm in a
yeah,
good mood. Oh, I
right,
can work from a better place now.
right,
You know?
absolutely. Yep,
I didn't know. You don't know till you know, right?
right.
So I love that, at least what you show us and you share with us. Like y'all look like I have y'all a good time.
We have fun. Yeah. And you know what I think? I think what's also important with that is who is in your friend circle. You know what I mean? Who are you associated with? Because for me, I am beyond blessed. When I tell you God has blessed me from day one, I would say from college on, the female relationships that I have with some of my closest friends have been phenomenal. Just in walking me through life, helping me get through that difficult challenge of going through the process of divorce. Even now, just learning to navigate this world of entrepreneurship. I have a lot of girlfriends of mine. They are entrepreneurs, or they're self-employed, or their husbands were in business themselves for a long time. So I literally have a great support system. But I think when it comes to, like you said, just okay, we're gonna do a girls trip, or even if it's not a girls trip, we're gonna do a staycation. If we all live in the same city, getting together for a few hours or for the night, chopping it up. I think it's really important who you're associated with, because that can make or break a lot of things. So if that circle is what it needs to be, yes, when we get together, we should come back fueled and ready to go and ready to tackle the world and energized and just ready. Or it's like, okay, if my circle is not what it should be, I may come back more drained, or like, dang it, I could have done more by myself, so I think who we associate ourselves with definitely plays a big role in what that can look like as well.
Absolutely. Listen, okay, so we kind of did the relationships with others. Let's talk about your self care. What are some of your self care routines or practices that are instrumental to you in your journey? Like, especially when it's like you're in a season that may be overwhelming or busy.
Yeah, for me, self-care. Okay, so for me, a few things. I'll kind of hit a few different areas. I'm a huge advocate, like I said earlier, for therapy. So I go to therapy once a month. I may be fine, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I feel good. Life is good. I don't, but I go to therapy once a month just to check in, just to, and some days it's like, some days I'm like, oh, I'm good this month. I'm good. I walk in that room, I walk out of that room like, oh Lord, how did she pull that out? Like I was good. But and then some days it's like, okay, I am good. Like, hey, this month, the last month, I've been good. So one big area for me is really being intentional about just making sure I'm doing well emotionally and mentally. Because again, just managing, running a business and I have people throughout my family that are business owners. Like my bloodline is full of business owners and entrepreneurs. But I'm the first PT, so even though there's this lineage of entrepreneurship and business owners throughout my family, there's still a level of newness. There's still a level of things that I don't know that I'm learning every day. Or it's like, oh, I didn't even think about that. So that helps me just kind of make sure emotionally, mentally, I'm doing well, trying to manage stress. Physically, I try to be active. I work out at least 4 to 5 days a week. And then in terms of eating well, trying to eat nutritiously as well, just to fuel my body the way I need to. Spiritually, I'm very intentional. I'm active in, like I said, church and things like that. Reading my word, praying. And then emotionally, again, I think for me, just what do I do for that is just the people that I surround myself with, my circle. So I'm really intentional about surrounding myself by like-minded women who, in those moments when imposter syndrome is kicked in, or I'm not feeling confident, or I'm questioning, like, what the heck am I out here doing? I have those women who I know love me at my core, and I've given them permission to be real with me, speak life into me, but check me when I need to be checked. So you know what I mean? So, and that's it. So for me, those are some of the things that I kind of do to address all those areas in terms of self-love and self-care, to try to make sure, that I try to stay level-headed, or, normalize myself in some capacity.
Yes, I didn't want to interrupt, but the thing that came to me was like checks and balances.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? What do you have? And then even I don't know if anyone has ever broken it down like that, but I love that you kind of broke it down into categories, and really sitting down. Okay, what does the eating look like?
Mm-hmm.
What's the friend group look like? Are
Mm-hmm.
these people, is someone holding me accountable, right? Then I got the professional help with the mental health. Da, 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 when I'm working out, can I do it on my own or do I need a trainer, right? Almost like not building a machine, but like, it's a business, right? You have checks and balances for your business, but for you, eating, what's my sleep? Am I in church? Am I doing something that I love? I know you sing. I see you singing, right? All of these things come together and are a part of the self-care, and then feed into everything else in life.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, you know what? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no,
I was gonna say, because I'm very type A. So that, like, having systems work for me. But I always know, like, I may be going full throttle, like I may be going on autopilot sometimes,
mm-hmm.
but that's a great way for me to check in with myself, to be like, no, something else is going on. You busy. You're really busy right now, but what are you running away from, or what are you not addressing? And so what I mean by that is, okay, with my friend group, like, I'm an introvert too. People don't believe this because I'll be like, but I am. And so, they know, though, if I pull away, if it's like, okay, it's been a day, it's been more than 2 days, and she's kind of reclused a little bit, no, let me reach out and check in. Or, okay, I know what works for me is meal prepping, just kind of going through all those categories, right? So for me, what works really well is meal prepping. If I hadn't unless I traveled that weekend and it was just like, dang it, I was going out of town, I didn't get back home to meal prep the way I needed to. But I can always tell when I'm off, or when I'm like, I'm not in my groove because I didn't meal prep.
Yeah.
I'm not connected to my circle like I normally am. Man, I hadn't read my word this week like I normally do. So for me, having those those checks and balances it allows me to then, like, if I'm honest with myself and I sit down sometimes, I may be off and it's like, yeah, you off your pattern, you're off your routine. And there's nothing wrong with, I mean, we're human, but that's just the way with me kind of setting those parameters in place for me. It just allows me the opportunity to kind of just be able to look at myself and be like, yep, you running away from something or you too busy. You know what I mean? It just allows me the opportunity to be, I guess, accountability to self.
Yeah, I love that. And I almost like want to challenge the listeners. I'm also a systems person too. Like, and I'm thinking, oh, I need a spreadsheet. Like, if that works for you, I'm okay. I'm a troubleshooter.
Yeah.
Like, this is good. Oh, it's here. I didn't do the, let me start tracking. How can we track what's not tracked, can be measured and can be progressed. So in my mind, I was like, listeners, if that's something that works for you, I challenge you, is it in your journal? Is it in a spreadsheet? But like, look at what you need and create that system for yourself, to check in. Very similar to you, I'm a meal prep person, but I don't feel like I have the time to spend the hours in the kitchen. So I just hired a meal prep company and it's freed up so much space for me. And so I also, it can be overwhelming trying to do it all. So I also love to say, like, if you have the finances to invest, invest so that you can take something off your plate. Somebody can do it for you and then you can put that energy someplace else, but whatever you need to have your checks and, your system in place so you can be the best and optimal you.
Right. Yep.
Oh, I love that. What's all the gems? Oh, I want to know.
Don't get me started.
Oh man. I feel like you've summed up so much that I want to ask and everything you're there. But I like, how have you maintained a sense of authenticity and purpose in your work? And, were there mindset shifts or strategies? If so, would you be open to sharing those things?
Yeah, that's a great question. Oh, my dog is crying in the back. I'm sorry if y'all hear him.
I can't even hear it.
He's like, oh. But that is a really good question. For me, again, having gone through the obstacle of divorce within this last year and a half, I really, throughout that process, I really went back and really assessed and asked myself, who is Tameka? Because I knew who I was or who I became or had to be when I was married. But apart from being married to a person, who am I? What are the things that I like? What are the things that I may have gotten away from that were always truly authentic to myself? And whether that be I sacrificed them during my marriage or whatever. But that was one of the things that was really important for me. Really sitting with self and saying, who am I? Reminding myself of that. And at the core of who I am, people who have known me for years, I love to dance. I love to sing. I'm very expressive. So over the last year and a half, if you've watched my social media, it transitioned to that. And honestly, it was through music and dance that really helped carry me through some of those darkest moments. You know what I mean? Like as a PT, we're in that profession as we are constantly giving.
Yeah.
And our job is not just physical, but it's emotional too, because people who know a lot of physical pain, emotional pain is hidden and wrapped up in a lot of physical pain, especially if we have people that are been dealing with pain for a long period of time. So not only as a profession, as a physical therapist, are we giving ourselves physically, but we're having to pour out emotionally to some of these patients as well, right? Yeah. And so for me, going through that process of divorce, I really had to sit with and remind myself of who am I? Who is Tameka? And when I really started to hone back in on that, like, this is who I am. I am going to be unapologetic for how God created me, for my spunky personality, for this. Like, I'm just at a point in my life where I'm like, this is who I am, and I'm very self aware. There's areas that I know we all need to evolve and grow in. But if you can't appreciate and value the gift that you see in me, whether that be on a personal basis, professionally, whatever the case may be. That's even with people coming into the business. Like when I do a no cost consultation for like my new patients, and I tell them, hey, this is a great opportunity for me to meet you and for you to meet me to see if we would be a great fit in working with each other.
Yes.
Sometimes it's not a good fit. But guess what? I'm at a point in my life where it's like I will not apologize for who I am, for me being who I am, you
Yes.
know. So I think it just kind of goes back to what I talked about earlier, getting to a place of self-awareness, but getting to a place of confidence within self to say, like, hey, this is who I am. And oftentimes when people magnify or highlight, oh, you doing this or you're doing that, a lot of times they're magnifying an internal issue that they have within themselves, where they may not be comfortable. You, because you're confident in who you are, sometimes you make other people feel uncomfortable because they've not been able to walk or really accept who they are. So yeah, that's the answer to that question.
Oh, what a word you just spoke.
Yeah,
I'm going through a little bit of that now with some folk.
yeah.
Oh man, but something I wanted to say is, what if you don't know who you are?
I think that's for me. That's when therapy really helped.
Okay.
So for me, and again, everybody's basis of foundation of belief is different. But I did not know who I was after I came out of my divorce.
Okay.
I really didn't, because like I said, for 12 years, I was this. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I'm not this anymore. Who am I? So I really had to sit with self. I really had to go through therapy to really heal and unwind. And some of the things that I thought, or the thoughts that I thought who I was, those are really lies that I told myself. You know what I mean? So I really had to go back and dig internally. For me, again, my faith plays a big role. So for me, kind of going back to the word to remind myself, this is who God says that I am. You know what I mean? Even in those moments where I questioned or doubted those things. So for me, it was a combination of my spiritual, rediscovering that through my spiritual walk, just again through therapy, which helped me become a lot more self-aware and really sit down with self. And sometimes I'm gonna tell you this, sometimes when you on this journey of discovery, you will see and learn parts of yourself that you don't like. I know I did. There were a lot of parts of me, it's like, ooh, that is not that's not cute. That's not good. You need to work on, you know what I mean? So if we're gonna be honest, it's like, yeah, you have these great things about, we have these great qualities about us. But I also have to stand in the fact that, yeah, this is a part of my personality and some traits that I carry too. And so I have to utilize that same energy to magnify the good, but also, okay, what do I need to do to make this area a little bit, tighten up a little bit over here? Oh
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, so good. And you have to be, this is what I've noticed, you have to be willing to do the work,
yeah,
and the willingness to do the work separates the people who I feel like are successful or go
absolutely,
far,
yeah,
and who not, right? Because I think it's so easy to see people who will play the victim and then just stay there, and just thinking of all the things, reflecting on all the things that you said, and that I've just noticed. I think I finally understand that whole idea of like, nobody's coming to save you.
exactly,
Like, no, it's not going to just magically happen. Oh, the thing that I once just there now, right? You have to. And so it really becomes getting really deep into who you are, what you need, where you need to grow, and are you willing to put in that work?
right. And I think that's that. I think you nailed it. Like, are you really willing to put in that work? Because it's not, so it can be dreadful. I'm not gonna lie. Like I tell people, like when you're really doing internal work, and if you're, like I said, when we're honest with ourselves, baby, sometimes I want to run away. I said, oh, she ugly right here.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't like you. Okay, so but I don't like you. what made me, why am I like that? Let's trace that thing back and let's rewind and let's rework it. But yeah, the process can be great, can be ugly. You got to put your boots on and dig. You got to dig. But the one of the hashtags that I use often now when I post something is beauty from ashes.
Yeah.
God's grace, beauty from ashes. And it's like, it's just when you're willing to do that work and put it in, the beauty that comes from that which that which you toil, it's like, it's a beautiful process, but it's work. It's work.
Yes. Okay. This is different. I've never done this. This is
Okay.
what I'm feeling right now.
Okay.
I forget who said this, but it stuck with me. And so I just want your thoughts on it.
Okay.
They said happiness is a counterfeit version of joy, and joy is only found in the Lord. Thoughts? I don't know what comes to mind. Go.
Yeah. Happiness, to me, happiness means that's based on conditions.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about happiness, I think conditional. So if things are going well, I'm going to be in a state, I'm going to be happy. But for me, joy comes in knowing that despite whatever I go through, despite what life hands me, I can rest in having joy because I know where my faith lies. And I know at the end of the day, for me, all things will ultimately work together for good for those who love God. So I can stand and rest in that joy. It just gives me something deeper or bigger than myself to be able to hold and grab hold to. Because right now, like I said, this situation may change. So if my state of emotion is based off the condition, okay, yeah, today I may have a lot of money in my bank account. But what happens when life happens and emergencies and things happen and that goes away? Yeah, that's gonna affect my state of being. But I have joy despite what happens, despite what goes on in my life. The constant that I can be anchored to is knowing that at the end of the day, all things will work together for good
Mm.
because I trust that God's got me. You know what I mean? I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I have faith enough to believe that it's going to work in my favor in some capacity. And that's what allows me to have a constant state or rest in joy as compared to the unsettled the unsteadiness of being happy, if that makes sense.
Yes, listen. And just to add to that, remembering that nothing is wasted.
Right. Oh,
And I
nothing,
like that just got there not too long
nothing.
ago. And remembering, oh, my back injury got me there. Like now that I'm, I think we always get to a new level and then there's a new lesson. And I got to a point where I was like, I am tired of new lessons. I
Yep.
just got here. Can I get a break?
Yep.
And but with my story of the back pain and not being able to walk, it has birthed, right, choose joy. And so now that I'm in a new space and I'm doing something else and working towards nothing else, I'm like, but nothing's wasted. Look how that journey has birthed something new. So although
Right.
I'm upset and I'm annoyed right now where I am, nothing is wasted.
Nothing is
So
wasted.
something that recently came to me was, how can I take stock of these storms? Oh, how is this gonna how is this going to allow me? This lesson is going to allow me to bless others.
Right.
And
That's good.
that switch,
Yep.
because nothing's wasted.
Yep. And then if you also move with the mindset of what happens to me is not for me. It's not solely based on me. It's for us to be able to be a testament or an encouragement to others. So, how befitting would it be for you as a physical therapist who loves dance, who loves creative expression, to be bound up with back pain? So now, not only now you can approach this from the clinician perspective, you can approach this from the person who, I absolutely am so passionate about this, but my body did not allow me to do this. So now I can talk to you from the perspective of, I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to be upset with my body because it's not performing the way I need to.
Mm.
I know what it did to me mentally. May have taken you to a low place. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So nothing is wasted. we, like I said earlier, we may not understand at the time, like, I don't understand why this is happening. We may not be able to make sense of it. But as we journey through life, you may run into another young lady or a young man who, life hit and they were crippled by this injury. Let me tell you about this season of my life when I went through this. And this is what got me through. And yes, I went through this dark time. And yes, I felt this way. And yes, but on the other side of it, or throughout that process, this is what I did. So I love that. Nothing is wasted. And a lot of times what we go through, it's not for us. It's for us to be able to be a testament or an encouragement to others who will endure the same thing, if not something very similar.
Yes. And I feel like getting there, just piggybacking to what you've already said, if you don't go and take care of the mental health, you'll miss the lesson and the opportunity to serve and get stuck in that self-hate and that, why did this happen to me, Lord? And God, you don't love me. You're not listening to me. And then, no. You missed your opportunity to serve. Oh, what do they say? Oh my God, that our purpose is, for those who are faith-based, our purpose is to tell others about God and his goodness. And you get these lessons and you can use what you got, your talent, your skill, to share with others and let him know, hey, this is how I got through. You can too. And that idea of really looking at servitude and taking it seriously, and it's a selflessness. That's something I kind of got into. Like, oh, I'm here to serve. This is how I'm supposed to serve. I get it. Oh, okay, right. So how many more of us can we help get it so that they can use their talents and serve? And what a beautiful thing that is, right? I just got excited.
I get excited. Yeah.
Oh, man. So I was talking about you singing. Are you like, listen, what I was going to say, like, will you put out music? Like, you are so talented. I'm almost like, is she going to do something else outside? Because you're so much more than this physical therapist. You're such a vibe. Like,
it's so funny because that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, Lord, like, again, just this last year and a half, really tapping back into who Tameka really is. Like, I love PT, but I love singing. I love, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many, like, when I sit and think about it, it's like, God, I'm really blessed with a lot of different gifts and talents. And I don't think I ever really realized that until recently. I probably say within this last year, it's like, wow.
I would say wow too. Wow.
But to answer your question in terms of singing, I mean, I sing at my church. I am in this it's a group. We got a little group here. But we do some performances.
Y'all be performing? Where you at? Tennessee? Let me come to Tennessee real quick.
Hey, we got a gig coming up this Friday. So but it's crazy that you say that, because a part of me is like, Lord, I really want to utilize that stuff. Like, this is where I'm at. I want to be operative in every area, every gift. Like, okay, by day I'm a PT. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I love to sing. I love to dance. I've never been trained to dance. Like, that was one of the things I wish I would have learned how to do growing up, like really trained to dance. But you turn on some music and I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I love athletics, so I can play ball. You know what I mean? Like, I can do a lot of different things. And so, yeah, that's actually kind of where I'm at right now. It's just like, Lord, what does the next couple years look like? Like, what is it that you're really doing or honing in with me? Because again, I believe, like you, like, I'm not just meant to be a PT. That's too small of a box. That's a part of what I do, that I'm passionate about that. And I believe, God has blessed me to be a PT, but there's so many different aspects of who I am that I think can be used or I can serve my gifts to better the world in some capacity. So,
and I want to add on to this because I don't know about you, but at one point when it was becoming like, I'm going to become Dr. Williams and I'm going to get this doctorate. And like, that was my entire world.
Yeah.
And then I got there and I was like, this wasn't what I thought it was.
Uh-huh.
It's like almost the impact.
Yeah.
Because you can't always help that you want to help. And it was like, it left something to be desired. But
Yeah.
I think we glorify and become the doctor, get like that was the highest thing. Like, and then you get there and it's like,
Like,
oh,
wasn't it? Yeah. What?
yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Oftentimes people they don't even the only time, and this may be a personal thing, humility or whatever, but people who don't know me like I don't go around introducing myself as Dr. Tameka Duncan.
mm-hmm.
Like if I'm in a professional setting or if I'm representing my business, absolutely. But I'm just like low key, no, I'm Tameka. And they're like, no fool, excuse me. Like this is
Yes, no, go ahead. Listen.
no fool, you got a whole doctorate degree. It's like, yeah, I do. Sometimes I forget because for me, the type of person that I am, I've never allowed titles to like, I'm not impressed by title.
Yeah.
Like it's great. Like I put in a lot of work and you put in a lot of work to get the degree that we have. Absolutely. I'll go down in history, let people know, no, baby, I put in the work for this. But a title I've never been just impressed by, oh, that's Dr. Such and such. That's great. That's a great accolade. Well, who are you outside of that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, who are you outside or who are you underneath that title?
Yeah.
That's what matters to me. So, yeah.
Yeah. I agree with all that. We are very similar in that. And I had the same experience, friends being like, but doc, because you did. And it's like within the last, I'm going to say month, I've been in the clinic, not on by me, but somebody where else. And hey, I'm Sherrill. I'm a physical therapist. Come on back. And there was this like 77, year old woman. She was a white woman. And she looked at me and she said, you are a doctor. Why are you not calling yourself Dr. Sherrill? And I was like, well, I just got here a month ago and I'm just, I just fallen into the flow. And she was like, absolutely not. And every time I see you, every time you treat me, I'm going to remind you. And she would show it. Hi, Dr. Sherrill. Hi, Doc. Hi, Doc. And she got me together. And so now I've been, hi, I am Dr. Sherrill. I'm your physical therapist. Please come on back. We're going to, I'm ready to see you now. And so it's interesting. Sometimes it takes that one person. And it was random. I don't know.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh no.
Yep.
That's
good. And I like you, it took me a long time. Like I said, now I'll use it in the professional setting, but it took a long time for me to be like, to feel comfortable in that. But again, that for me, I had to trace that back to some internal stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, why you earned this degree? So why don't you feel you're capable of being called this or other people? You know what I'm saying? Tracing it all the way back. But yeah, tracing that thing all the way back.
Oh, so good. So good. Listen, one question left.
Okay.
I want to respect your time, but as you reflect on your journey, what core principles and values have guided you in choosing joy, loving yourself, and impacting others?
I think for me, it stems down. And again, I kind of led with this at the beginning and I'm going to close with it. For me, my faith. Mm-hmm. Just being authentic to my faith. I mean, that in itself encompasses everything. Again, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer. So the Bible tells us to love. Like if I just extend love, if I love my neighbor as I'm loving myself, like it just allows me to operate at a level with you or anybody else that I need to. It helps me. The foundation of my faith and the principles that I pull from my walk, my faith journey is I think it's the underlying foundation of what has kept me or grounded me throughout all my life's journeys, every process, whether it be professionally, starting a business, and then, COVID hits, and now I'm wrestling with the idea of shutting the business down, or okay, hey, now I'm in a season where business is growing. But okay, now I got to take a step of faith and consider hiring this person or doing this. It's like, oh, I'm a little nervous, but what grounds me, what roots me back to that foundation for me, it's my faith. Whether it's something personal, whether it's something I'm going through emotionally or something I'm going through relationally, the common denominator for me is the foundation of my faith. I pull a lot from that. So for me, that's really heavy. For me, that's really what has sustained me and kept me grounded and rooted in um, who I am and just my authentic self throughout my journey. So,
Yes, I'm going to add something in.
okay.
What if I don't have a faith? What if I'm new and I'm trying to figure this thing out? I don't have an anchor or anything ground. What would you say to that person?
I would say connect to like-minded people. Connect to people who just could connect to like-minded people, because you may not have a faith or a higher power that you believe in or operate from, but I think when we're connected to people, that can influence a lot. Who I'm connected to will influence how high I go. It'll influence how low I go. Right. So I may not know the answers. I may not have the clarity. I may not understand this, but I trust you. And if I'm connected to you, I trust your judgment. I trust your guidance. I trust your wisdom, you know, and surround yourself by those who are smarter than you, who I want to be. And out of my friend group, I'm okay with being I'm gonna just say it plain like this. I'm okay with being the dumbest one in the group. Because why? Because it's gonna make me elevate. It's gonna put, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna just make me strive to be that much more. So I would say, like, if you don't have a foundation, whether it be a spiritual foundation or something, just be conscious of who you're connected to, because that is gonna influence how you move and how you live life.
I'm going another level deeper because stuff's just coming to me.
Oh, right.
Now, when it comes to connecting with people, right? And this, wow, thank you. Yes, okay. Especially when it comes to online, we're marketing, there's coaches, there's this, there's that. Has there been a set of criteria? How have you known, oh, this is the right person to trust? This is the right community of people to connect to?
You know what? One of my good girlfriends, she said this to me years ago, and it has always stuck with me. And when I think about it, it's how I've always moved. I just didn't put words to it. Okay. The one thing she said was follow peace. That's it. Follow peace.
No, I need an organ.
Like, follow peace. Like, and that's how I live my life. I follow peace. And what I mean by following peace, like, sometimes it's just, I think as women, we've been blessed with this supernatural intuition, right?
Yeah.
Like, we just are. That's just, but I follow peace. So if I'm like, man, I don't know what it is, but I just feel comfortable. I feel easy. Like, there's no, I learned to follow peace with whatever decision I'm making, whether that be a business relationship, a friendship, making a decision about something. If I learn to follow and trust the peace that I feel, usually it doesn't steer me in the wrong direction. And by chance, if it does, if we go back to what we talked about earlier, at the end of the day, all things will work together for the good. I think if our intentions are pure, if I move with pure intentions and motive, and I try my best to follow peace, I think that's just going to help kind of guide us the way, in the way in which we need to go. And by chance, if we step and make the wrong decision, I trust that I'm gonna be able to get right back on path in some capacity. You know what I'm saying? And be okay. So
yeah, yo, this was like a great outline. I feel like you could play this back and be like, "Oh, all right." She said health. What's my eating look like, right? Like, Yes, Tameka, you gave it, you broke it down. You gave specifics. Oh, peace. Does so and so bring me peace? When I work with that client and my
Right.
peaceful, man, that's not the right client for me. This was such a great, like, I might just do it, like, create a worksheet.
Yeah.
And I encourage y'all create a worksheet. Think about the things that you heard Tameka say. Oh man. And that alone, you start applying these things and bringing in that self-awareness and taking note of who is in your circle and how they make you feel. You cannot be blessed. This was a thank you for blessing the people. I was blessed. I
Thank
know.
you.
Oh man. Tameka, where can the people find you if they want to connect?
Yes. So of course I'm on social media. You may see me dancing or look. So you can find me on social media. My business is at Vitality Sport Rehab, or my personal is at T Duncan 1. So there you probably gonna get a mixture of everything. But yeah, social media, and yeah.
Yes. And of course, I will have that linked in the description down below so you can get all of the things. Thank you, Tameka, for coming on and sharing this space. I'm always so grateful. And I just knew it was going to be so good. And I'm thankful. I'm so
Thank you. Thank you.
thankful.
Thank you for the opportunity. Seriously. Thank
Well,
you.
listen, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. We're so appreciative, and we will see you on the next episode.